again back with a brief tutorial about the American Psychological Association referencing style for the 7th edition. That was just released this year, actually, maybe, no, actually last year. This year, last year, whatever the case may be. So I'm going to go over a brief tutorial to where I'm going to show you how to reference and do in-text citations for journal articles. So to start, in reference to journal articles, when you come across articles that have one author, whatever, it probably may seem plain and simple in reference to how you should reference this, but there are some changes that was made in reference to how APA, the 7th version, wants things to be done. So just to give you an overview, here is the first example to where this author is there's one author and we're doing an in-text citation. So this author is being placed at the end of the sentence where you have the author's last name, comma, and the year of publication. For this, in reference to if you want to say that the author stated something, it'll be something a little bit different to where you may want to put the author at the beginning or in the middle of the sentence to say that this author stated such and such. So here we have it to where the author said this, but instead of having the author in parentheses, where you're only going to have the year of publication in parentheses. Okay, and then when it comes time to reference, it'll be one author will be referenced in this particular manner to where you have the author, comma, A, and then the year again in parentheses, and you have the title of the publication, you have the journal articles title, the volume, the issue, the page numbers, and the clickable DOI number or DOI information. Therefore, when it's time to verify your purposes and you're going through like a review process, if they wanted to verify this individual reference, they can just, whoever's reviewing it can just click on this link and it'll take them right to that article. For two authors is going to be similar to one author. The only difference about this is when you're going to have a ampersand in between the two last names of the authors that authored the article that you are citing. For instance, we have Pierce ampersand Patterson, comma, 2021 in parentheses at the end of the sentence. If you wanted to say that these authors said a certain thing or noted a certain information, instead of having the ampersand, you are going to just simply say Pierce and Patterson, again, quotation marks, 2021. The year in quotation marks said this, and in reference to the references, the reference is going to be it's going to be similar to the first reference when you cite one author. However, you have both authors. You're going to put their last name, comma, first initial. Don't forget the period and the comma. The ampersand goes in the references. You do not use the word in references for the APA referencing style. And then for the second author, you'll just add the second author, Patterson, comma, G, period, and then again the year in parentheses, and just follow suit. Make sure you have the clickable DOI. And also, just to note, when you enter the journal article title, make sure that is italicized along with the volume number, not the actual issue number, whereas the issue number will be in parentheses, no space between the volume and the issue. If you have 3 or more authors, it's going to be a little bit different. So for the one author, you're just going to type in the first author. You're going to type in that single author's name. For 2 authors, you're going to type in both authors' name, and you're going to reference both of those authors as well. For 3 or more authors, the first author is going to be inserted. Here we have the first author that is listed on the actual article that you are citing. However, any authors that come after that will be represented as et al. And then put in the year. Okay, and this is how you cite it at the end of a sentence. Or if you wanted to say that these authors said or noted certain information, it'll be typed similar to like the first author, like when you have like when we first discussed as the one author, but in the beginning you'll just say Pierce et al. 2021 in parentheses noted this. And then the same thing for the references. For the references, you're going to actually put in all three of your authors. Again, you're going to separate each author by a comma, and then you're going to use the ampersand right before you insert the last author to be referenced. The same rules apply in reference to entering the title, the journal article, the volume, the issue, the page numbers, and the clickable DOI. Make sure that the journal article, the journal itself is italicized, along with the volume number. A few rules to follow when you're doing in-text citations for multiple sources, whereas a lot of universities or colleges forbid you doing multiple citations, but in some cases it may be necessary. When you do multiple citations, when you do multiple in-text citations for various sources, there is a couple of rules that should be followed, particularly when it comes to the APA writing style. The first one is make sure that each author by first name is in alphabetical order. Started meaning the first author, not necessarily the authors that follow, particularly the first or second author, and make sure that each one of these sources are separated by a semicolon. For example, if I wanted to say that these three, if I have three articles and I wanted to do in-text citations for all three of these articles, here it is. I have the Pierce 2021 separated by a semicolon, and then I list the second source, the year, the third source, and the year. And this will be end of the sentence citation style. If I wanted to cite all of these articles to say that all of these authors agreed on a particular statement or a particular issue or whatever the case may be, I would cite them as peers, similarly to how I referenced them in text citation 1, 2, and like for 3 authors in the previous slides. So for here, we're doing the Pierce 2021. Make sure that you put the year in parentheses for each source or for each article that you're citing, separated by a comma. And then here again, we have the Pierce and without the ampersand. And then you have the Pierce et al. With the year in parentheses. Also, what you want to do is note when you have the Pierce et al. And you're putting them at the end of a sentence as an in-text citation, the Pierce et al. Is separated by the authors and the year is separated by a comma. However, when you're just writing to say that this author said something, there's no comma between the actual authors and the year. So keep that in mind. Now, in reference to, there are some articles that you may come across that have more than 20 authors. In reference to the way that APA wants these authors cited is, again, we look at the previous slide that we just looked at and the one with 3 or more, to where these authors are going to be represented in the same manner, to where we're going to list the first author and we're going to represent the additional authors as et al. So here it is, we have the in-text citations to where we're going to say that the author said something and then or reference the author at the end of the sentence. In reference to how you make the references at the end of in your references section. Say for instance, if I had 30 authors on a single article. I will reference all 19. I would reference the first 19 authors, and if there was 30, I would enter the last one on the article, which would be the 30th article, and then the ones from 20 to 29 would be represented with the ... sign. I'm not sure what that's called, but that's how the authors in between 19 and 30 will be represented in the references section, to where for APA they only want you to list up to 20 authors. And the same thing applies to in referencing to make sure you put in the year, the title, the journal, page numbers, volume, issue, and the clickable DOI. Again, note, when there's more than 20 authors, list the first 19 authors. Okay? And then any authors between the 19th and the last author, which is going to be the 30th article, the 30th author, is going to be represented as the ... So that's going to be between 19 and 30. And you list the 30th one, and then you go ahead and continue with your citation. So just to give you a brief overview, we are going to just an overview as far as like how you reference APA style. You have the author's name, the author's last name, and their first initials. If they have multiple initials, the first initial, middle initial is okay to list those. You want to make sure that you put the year in parentheses, period, and then also the title of the article. You want to put the title of the article, the title of the periodical or journal article, the volume, the issue. Make sure that the issue is in parentheses, page numbers, and the digital objective identifier, which is the DOI number. If there's not a DOI number, then there are some sources you can go to, like DOI sources or certain websites. I forget what the name of those are, but you can search certain websites to locate a DOI number for certain articles, just in case they're not actually listed on the article. So, in reference to doing this, don't forget to indent when you doing your references. Also, again, make sure that the DOI information is clickable. You want to make sure that the first letter in all of your titles of your articles are capitalized. Otherwise, all of the other information should be lowercase, unless it's a title, a name, or abbreviations or things of that nature. Make sure that the periodical or journal article is italicized, and then also make sure that the issue number is in parentheses. And that is it. So if you have it, if you can just view the article, you can view the slide, you can view this presentation over, just to get a gist as far as how you reference or do in-text citations for journal articles. The next video I'll do is based on how to reference websites, how to reference books, how to reference dissertations, and other various sources that you may use during your writing process. So, hope you enjoyed this video. Stay tuned for the next one. Bye.